wasn't even recording.
Just gonna
Sitting here with
split
the
that
camera,
down in
not
half.
recording.
Only a few years ago, me and you were doing this. Just not in this world, wasn't it? In the virtual world.
Yeah, the virtual world. Yes, I'm still trying to get my head around selling spuds on Instagram. How the world's changed since I started cooking.
Yeah.
As such.
I'll just go and quit my career as a chef and do Instagram. What it is now, isn't it? It's changed.
Yeah. Obviously doesn't feel
I
the
don't know if
same.
I could do it. Get bored.
So yeah, I mean, you don't have that contact, that camaraderie, I guess, that you get in busy kitchens as such. Yeah, so during lockdown, Sean came up with the Northwest Virtual Food and Drink Festival. So,
We were busy. It was a quick little creation of mine by not sleeping due to lockdown. I was thinking, I'm a chef, I'm busy. We're busy 24 hours a day. What can I do to save this industry? Obviously lockdown come March, peak season for things like this to happen. So there was all food festivals around Easter time and stuff like that. So I come up with the idea, spoke to a few friends within the industry, people like Brian, and I had Craig Sherrington from Great British Menu, spoke to him, and then a lady come on board called Jackie Moss, and we all sort of got our heads together, and within me thinking one day, this is what it's going to be, we'll do one day, all online, a few chefs between us, we'll do a few demos, and it turned into 2 days, 20 chef demos over 2 days, 20 other talks and demonstrations on beer and wine. A few of your friends were doing beer. We had a beer sommelier there on there, so I was on there pairing beer with food, which was quite interesting, but different, not your average sort of thing you'd normally do. And the big thing was to support local businesses, and the people you see here today selling like cheeses, wines, beers, gins, they were all going to struggle more than anyone, because they're very customer facing. And obviously it's alright them supplying it to us as a restaurant, but when we're not open as well, how do they get it to you as the customer? And it was sort of like, how do we make that happen? So in the end, some of them provided us with some samples of food, some samples of beer, and we were cooking with them, showing what can be done with them to showcase them to the customers as yourselves, and to sort of get them out there. And in the end, we also did it for a great charity close to my heart, and probably Brian's as well, called Hospitality Action. And we raised close to £3,000 for Hospitality Action, which is an industry charity which supports chefs and anyone in hospitality, especially during COVID. So they did COVID grants, so they were struggling with their bills and rents and things like that. They were doing £250 grants if they'd lost a job, sort of been made redundant, or lost a lot of the wages more than furlough and things like that. Just depends what was needed at the time. But now they're back to what they normally do in supporting chefs in the industry with mental health support if they've had losses or need hospital treatments and things like that. Like they're going to do in a few weeks' time at Hilton. I think Ellis is at that again, and a big ambassador of that is Paul Askew as well from Liverpool at the art school. Good friend of both of us.
Yeah. It's a good Northwestern saying, isn't it? Doing a do. You're doing a do. So yeah, Sean created this festival, raised money for our industry charity, and it'd be nice to just give him a little round of applause. Well done, man. So I'm on my terrace in Cheshire.
But about 6 barbecues, was it?
There was about 6 barbecues going. Mary on the iPhone, the son, you couldn't see a thing on the iPhone. Craig's in Northumbria, working the desk, so to speak, isn't he?
Yeah.
Using this live stream and things like that. And we've got people messaging from sort of Canada, Australia, from all over the world.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, it worked great. So obviously, we had businesses message afterwards, so it actually helped them survive, because they made quite a bit of money during that time, especially when it's produce. But obviously we got told one day you shut tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we're in a world of industry of fresh produce. So they've made the cakes, they've made the cheese. The cheese is made 6 to 9 months before. What are they going to do with it when it comes ready to sale? There's not a lot they can do other than sell it up in it. And that was sort of what we managed to do, is create that vibe that people would go and look at it, and they would go and buy it. And a lot of them did. Similar to today, they've got show discounts and things like that, and it just helped them sort of move their produce really, that would have gone to waste. Which is a big thing on, you know, sustainability, food waste. Pop them carrots off for a second. So while I'm also steaming them carrots, I'm just going to make a puree in the base of this now. I'm going to pour red wine vinegar.
Do you cook much at home, chef?
Try.
Yeah.
It's when I'm at home. It's normally made for me. So that's the better way.
Tidy at home, chef.
No.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Use every pan, chef.
Yeah. That's what these are for. No pans needed. So in there now is a touch of water, which we've been steaming them carrots with. A touch of red wine vinegar. A little bottle of sugar. And then we're just going to season it with a touch of salt and pepper. 2 good pinches. A little pinch of pepper. And I'll just roughly chop that. I'm going to set that up and chop it now. And turn it down. Now that's going to start cooking for me. Take the top cap off and continue cooking the carrots while I'm cooking the puree. So before I was getting my jus nice and warm, difference between jus and gravy?
£2.50.
A lot of blood, sweat and tears. So I was standing there looking after a stock. So beef bones, veal bones, all roasted down using the marrow. Caramelising your onions, your carrots, your celery, all your mirepoix on the base of the pan, getting the colour into them. Add your bones in, and then we're going to deglaze them trays that we've roasted our bones with a bit of red wine. Add the wine in, add the deglaze in the pans, add your bones all in there, and it's going to sit there to boil for 48 hours. But we don't want to boil, we want to simmer. And then if we're boiling it, the fats of the bones will then boil into the stock and make it cloudy and emulsify in, and you'll never be able to get it out. You'll never be able to save it, and it's a waste of money. Because obviously we pay for the bones to come in, and we pay for them to waste. It costs us more to put them in the bin, the bones, than it does to buy them in, because we pay for weight in the bins. So there's other good companies out there, which are actually in a lot of farm shops now, like Essential Cuisine, we both know well. They do little mini tubs, so you can get a chef quality product in a little tub that you loosen down with a touch of water. It's basically the best gravy you'll ever have in your life, because it's rich, it's intense, you don't need a lot of it. So when you see me putting literally a little drizzle on a plate, it's because it doesn't need it anymore. It'll sort of kill a dish.
So I just realised what's happening now.
What's that?
Well, Ellis is here on Sunday.
Yeah.
And we're like married couples now. We're finishing each other's sentences. We all know each other's little jokes and punchlines and stuff. Ellis was doing something the other week and I went, "That's mine." And he went, "Oh yeah, it is, isn't it?"
Yeah. I'll probably get another pan. I'll probably leave one in the oven on me.
He's run away and left
Just while
us.
Sean's in the back there, if you're not familiar with this, it's called the Thermomix, and it's the way the blades are positioned in there. So you've probably never had a I don't think I've had a red cabbage puree before. So it won't kind of normally break down, but because of the way this machine is and the shape of the bowl, it should get it pretty smooth.
Yeah. So cabbage is normally known to be quite fibrous. and wouldn't go smooth necessarily. Now this gets a lot of things smoother, and then to help that, I do add a couple of little things. So I've got a product here called gel creme with xanthan gum. Gel creme is a salsa product, but the other word for it basically, that's a Portuguese product basically, is xanthan gum. So xanthan gum's in tomato ketchups, brown sauces, all that. You can actually buy it in the gluten-free baking aisles in a little tub, because they use it to get the elasticity into gluten-free breads and pastas and things like that, because obviously you've not got the starch that you'd normally have in gluten-free products. So you go to a product like that to get that sort of elasticity. So moving on to our next cut of lamb. We've got a lamb rump. So again, similar to a stew, the lamb rumps took me quite a little while to cook, get ready. So nice piece of lamb rump, a nice piece of Cheshire lamb. What we've done with it when it's come in, we've trimmed it all up, take off the sinew, so there's a little membrane on the top of the rump. It's the skin, you get rid of that so it's not tight and tough. And then what we've also done, you'll notice in a sec I will not season this lamb in any shape or form. It doesn't need any salt, any pepper, any nothing. And the reason for that is it's been brined. So I've brined it for 12 hours first. So we've done 10% brine, so that's 10% salt to liquid. So for every litre of water, it's 100 grams of salt. So in that, there's 50 grams of salt, but you're taking it out, it's not really getting it. So in the centre of the meat, it's penetrated all the way through, seasoned the full meat, firmed it up, and then after that, we put it in a bag with such as rosemary and garlic. So we're just going to render this meat down now. So you're trying to render the fat down, nice and slow.
Anyone got one of these at home?
No.
Yeah.
He thinks I hate them. I don't.
You don't anymore?
No. It's just we just didn't use them in the competition.
Yeah.
It's really good sort of low energy cooking.
So once we put it in the bag with the rosemary and garlic, we then cooked it in this. So it's set to a particular temperature on the top. So I've set it to 62 degrees. I popped it in just before the demo. So I come in around 3 o'clock to get that in. So it roughly takes 45 minutes. So it's pink from top to bottom. So normally when you cook meat, you get that brown bit, then the pink bit, then the brown bit. You end up pink top to bottom, but it's cooked the same throughout. So it's not raw as such, but it's got that nice middle pinkish that you'd like all the way through the meat. Now I'm just going to add a little touch of butter in there, a bit more fat. Adding similar flavours to what we were doing into the meat, touch of rosemary, touch of garlic, and then using the side of the knife, just push down on the garlic. So we're not chopping it, we're just releasing the natural oils, the natural flavours from the garlic. You're sort of looking for that nice golden brown caramelisation in colour. You can see this is now steaming, so our carrots are cooking up the top and our puree down below. And onto there. So again with this, you're looking for that nice caramelisation. So with this lamb shoulder, what we've done is we've braised it for 8 hours in some red wine, rosemary, garlic, thyme, and then a mirepoix of onion and carrot, garlic, things like that. And then pulled it all down, so took the fat off it and shredded it all down. And then used a chefy where we've boudined it. So we've laid a load of cling film melt on the bench, picked it down, shredded it, and put it into a nice sausage, and then rolled it nice and tight, let it sit in the fridge. So it sets up for about 6 hours, and then you can portion it into nice little pieces. So in there it looks like there's nothing in it. As soon as you cut into it, it opens and it explodes, and it's actually a lot in it when it doesn't look like a lot.
Starting to get the aromas now as well.
Yeah.
It's always the smells that starts making you hungry.
Yep.
So how I first encountered Sean is I'm involved with the North West Young Chef competition, and Sean came in for a number of years competing, and I just remember that year that you're in the final at Crewe, and he's so focused. I was like tired watching him. You know, he was so focused in putting in his best efforts on the plate. So we've got 2.5 hours to do 6 dishes, and you've got 5 judges watching you. So,
A few we just spoke about.
yes. Can't remember who was judging that year. It was Porky judging.
No, it was Ellis Barry, Craig,
Okay. Yeah.
Matt Davis, myself, and
It was 6 that year. Jonathan from Essential Cuisine. Yeah, our good friend Matt Davis is a fantastic chef. Unfortunately, one year he touched a hot plate and it shorted out, and he was quite badly damaged. So he does massive amounts, doesn't he, for hospitality action?
yeah, he's with Birmingham Hospital quite often, doing dinners there and stuff like that, charity dinners. Great chef and ambassador for the industry as a whole. But yeah, it's such a shame. He's still not in a good way now. He's still going for treatment quite often. So, I'm with the lamb, just going to rest the lamb. Key to resting meat is really resting it as long as you cook it. Main reason is just easiest way to explain it is if you burn yourself. Say if you burn yourself, you're scalded, you get a blister, it bubbles up, and it goes really tight in the skin. That's the same with meat. So right now, if I give you that, it'd be tough. You complain in a restaurant that your meat's tough. So when your meat's tough in a restaurant, it's not been cooked properly. It's not been rested. So if you then run your hand under cold water, the blister starts to relax. It starts to soften. It's the same process with meat. You're just letting that natural meat rest and relax. So meat, strictly speaking, shouldn't be red hot. So again, I'm cooking that to 62 for a long period. Naturally, if I was cooking that, strictly speaking, in an oven, I should be cooking it to at least 75 for a health and safety and environmental standards. But using a slow and long process, it's safe. It's breaking down more bacteria. So there's a burger recipe I do at 62 degrees, where you can serve the burger fully pink. But that's because you obviously on a normal meat on the outside you've killed the bacteria, because bacteria lives on the outside of the meat. Whereas with this in a burger, your outside is on the inside. So it just helps break down that sort of bits and the bacteria. I'm going to take our carrots out of here now.
How long was the lamb in the water bath for?
So I did it for 45 minutes in there just to break down the proteins.
7 or 8 minutes.
Yeah, just get a nice colour on it.
So we've got like an hour now.
Yeah.
So, because you've rested it as long as you cooked it.
Yeah. Strictly speaking. But when I do go to water bathing, it's more how long it's in the pan rather than how long you sous vide. The puree is coming on nicely. So we're just going to turn up the speed now. So now it's just going to tell me that I can't go any higher due to the temperature while cooking. So it's going to stop cooking now and go to just puree.
It's going to take off.
So that's a bit of a safety feature of the machine. Rather than get that explosion, it builds up its speed sort of gradually.
similar to what I was doing this afternoon. Want a nice foaming butter to sort of cook them carrots in now. And you're going to get them nicely caramelised. So again, it's not going to let me open that until it's cooled down just a touch, because it doesn't want it to splatter everywhere. It'll open up in just a sec. Oh, I'm going to add touches anthem. There we go. So if you look in the lid there, you can see it's slightly grainy. Yeah, I'm going to add ultra text. So both of these bind molecules together in the food. It's quite a sciencey thing, so obviously the cabbage and the water aren't wanting to bind together currently. So these sort of just bring them together and bring them nice and smooth and silky. Again, it starts slow, build its way up. Into these carrots now we've got a bit of colour, just going to add a little splash of water. So now you've sort of got a nice silky puree.
It's one of the things that we're always looking for in the competitions. Tasting, you're checking the flavours, checking the textures. So we're talking about your knife earlier, Sean.
Yeah.
A lovely knife, and just admiring the plates.
Yeah.
Where'd you get those from, Chef?
Really good supplier in Southport. Some green building just behind.
Yeah.
Said office on it.
You come back and went, these plates are pretty good, you know. Got his plates.
All the things I could forget today. The one thing I needed, plates. But hey, things happen.
He packed them.
Nice plates.
He packed them.
Nice plates.
So, pop that meat out.
Asbestos fingers? No. I would, but he's immune.
So obviously with this potato, it's quite a delicate thing because it's very thin layers. So pop that there. So the reason I've cut the lamb in with it is just to bring that flavour from the lamb to the potato. Another way you could do that is using a bit of lamb fat with the butter. And that'll set well as well.
That's become quite a thing, hasn't it, with the butters? You know, like beef marrow butter, and, you know, the whipped butters, that kind of thing.
Yeah, using it to flavour it,
Yeah.
a bit different. So pork fat and apple works quite nice. Any fats would settle quite nicely. I've done a marrow and
Three
beef
pieces.
horseradish
Three
butter,
different pieces.
which works really nice. I'm just going to portion this up.
And as Sean knows, is that competition-wise, we're looking for different parts of the animal to be used. So he's used like a prime cut in terms of the rump, and then the compressed shoulder you used then?
Yeah, shoulder. That's something I was big on during the competition. I did a duck breast with a duck leg bonbon, mashed potato, rhubarb. Because when they do Northwestern Chef of the Year, they do it at a tricky point on purpose, when nothing's in season. So your big thing is you've got to do it seasonal. So a hard thing to get seasonal when you're doing it in March and April sort of time. So rhubarb's one of the biggest ones. So you find everyone did rhubarb as a dessert. I sort of tried to stay away from that theme. I did carrot cake with goat's curd. Just as something a little bit different compared to everyone else really, and I brought the rhubarb into the duck. So instead of putting cherries and blackberries and things like that, I paired the rhubarb quite nicely. So this little thing here is quite a little chefy thing. It's called a saucing pencil. So obviously I can pick my sauce up and sauce it and direct it to where I want. Similar to you using a gravy boat. Again, I'm just directing for how much I actually want on that plate. Just a little touch. And then I'm just going to finish it with a little parsley and garlic oil, just to separate that jus. There we go. There's our lamb hot pot.
Well done, lads. Well done.
Well done, Sean. If you want to come up and take a picture or something of the dish or chat to Sean, please do. I guess you're not working tonight.